Welcome back. I am so excited. Today I have Gloria Niemi on the show with me, and she is a life coach. We actually met through a mutual friend in a business program. And I can't wait for her to introduce herself and just share more about who she is. But there are several things about her that fascinated me. And one of my memories also is the last time we saw each other in December, Gloria, where you're like, wow, you're a good listener. I'm like, thank you so much. I love hearing about people's stories, their journeys, what they're going through, what they've been through. And so I can't wait to share you with my audience today. Tell us more about who you are.
Thank you, Steph. I'm so happy to be here on your podcast and just having this conversation with you. It's a bright point in my day.
Oh, thank you.
I'm Gloria Niemi, like you said, and you nailed it, the pronunciation of my last name. But I live in Thunder Bay, Ontario with my husband and my 8 children. And we just do life. Like, we don't know where we're going next, but life is kind of an adventure for us. And I mean, with 8 kids, of course, every day is an adventure. But what brought me here to the work that I do, I help moms with postpartum depression figure out who they are so that they can be happy and love their life as a mom. And of course, what brought me to this work is my own journey. When I became a mom, it was the very last thing that I had anticipated it would be. I had always dreamt of being a mom. I couldn't wait for the day to just like fold my little baby's cute clothes and my handsome man's work clothes and bake food and all the fun mom things. I couldn't wait for that day. But when I became a mom, I had all of the hard feelings. I felt so disconnected. It was a really rough time in my life. And it was this dream ideal of what I thought it was going to be, just shattered in front of my face. And that was a really rough season. But I knew that that wasn't how it needed to be. And I ended up having postpartum depression after each of my 8 children, each of my first 7 children. Yeah. And my 8th baby, I finally was able to go through a postpartum without the depression sucking me in. So that's why I'm here, is because I know the truth of postpartum depression. It tells you a bunch of lies when you are in it, and it's not true. And I want to be the light that shows that it's a load of garbage.
A load of garbage. You are the light. And I can't think of anyone more suited for this work than you, having 8 children, personally struggling with postpartum depression, even though it was not something that you anticipated. I don't think depression is something you struggled with outside of having babies. And you know so deeply what it feels like, how hard it is. And I know that you're changing so many women's lives because of that. I would love to hear more about your journey, where you were, talking about sort of the expectation and then the reality, and then obviously get into what changed for you. What are some things you want listeners to know if they're going through that, or if they know somebody else going through that? So let's start with the beginning, sort of baby number 1, some of the hardest things that came up for you.
Yeah. So I was young when we got married, 19, little baby.
You were.
We actually got called babies on our honeymoon, which is a little bit offensive, but we were young.
Yes.
We thought we were big enough to make our life's decisions. But we got married young. We were both 19. And then I had my first daughter at 20. And I had just moved. I had been living in Spokane, Washington with my family, and then moved across the country to Toronto, which is where my husband was born and raised. So I had so many changes in such a short time, all this, and at a young age.
Yeah. Just the
became
move.
a wife.
Yeah.
Moved. Became a mom, all of the things. And so it's no wonder to me looking back that I had no idea who I was, what I was going through. I had new support system around me who I didn't really connect with. They didn't really get me. I didn't get them. We had different humor, different way of living, all of the things.
Yeah.
And it just felt like what the heck is motherhood? Like, this is what people rave about? Like, are you kidding me? In my darkest moments, I thought I had made a mistake in becoming a mom.
Oh.
And there were times where it felt like a nightmare, like I'm living a nightmare. And the people around me didn't know how to support me. Like they were just like, well, I don't know, pray to God and hopefully he will help you through this. And hopefully you'll get over it someday and you'll be able to enjoy your life and be thankful to be a mom. And like, of course, all of that is true, but it was not what I needed in that moment.
Yeah. What did you need? Because sometimes in the moment, there's a lack of understanding for what we do need. But now in hindsight, I am sure you have clarity.
What I needed was someone to listen, to hold space, like unconditional love without making it mean anything about them. For whatever reason, I didn't reach out to a therapist until after my 5th baby to get help with the depression. It was just, I don't know. I was always self-aware. So I thought, since I know what's going on, then it's okay because I'm dealing with it.
Yeah.
And I didn't really think that a therapist could help me because it felt what I was thinking and feeling were just like facts of life. So I was like, if I don't want to be a mom, how's a therapist going to help me? Because I still have my kids. I can't get rid of my kids. When it came down to it, I didn't want to get rid of my kids.
Right.
So it just felt like there was no point in reaching out for that help.
Yeah. What would somebody else be able to do? I'm sure you are not the only one that feels that way. And so many people get stuck there. I like how you said it felt like a fact of life. Obviously, I don't know everything that you were going through, but I think that's the reality for so many people, that the stories that our minds make up, the insecurities that we have, the thoughts that cross our path, the intrusive ones and all, they all can seem like facts and often do.
Yeah, totally. So for sure, that unconditional love and holding space, like someone to be like, I see you and I hear you. I guess validation for where I'm at and how I'm feeling. But then also someone to be like, and it doesn't need to be that way. Like someone to show me the way out of what I was feeling. Yeah, if we go back to that moment when I said you're such a good listener, because you are, like you just have such a way of really, really holding space when someone is talking, when I am talking. And it allows me to look at what I'm saying in a different way, like actually hear myself. Like some things I would just say without even thinking about it. But then you're like, hey, like, what about that? So one of the questions that I remember you asking me is, Gloria, why weren't you happy when you first got married? I was like, oof, like, yeah, I could have been, but I wasn't. Getting lost in the emotion.
Yeah, I got a little teary-eyed, but you were talking, just having someone listen and hold space. And I think it's not a common skill to also be able to ask good questions and sort of like hold a mirror, like, this is what I hear, what's there.
On where it was going. But if I just go back to like having someone validate where I'm at, but also saying this is the way that you can get out of it. You don't have to stay stuck in this misery that you are currently in.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything else come up, or those are the big ones?
Those are probably the biggest ones. Yeah. My mind's still percolating on what was that? Because I know it was something good. So maybe if it comes up again later.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll come through. It's like, oh, I know what I was thinking. Here it is. I kept getting the word hope when I was listening to that last piece, the hope that, and the possibility that it doesn't have to be like this.
Yes, 100%. And I think that's always been my guiding light. There were times where I felt hopeless, like it felt like this is never gonna end, especially after like round number 7. I was like, are you kidding me? Like I've gone through this so many times. Why is this same crap still coming up for me? I am so done with this. I'm ready to experience something new. And there were times where, hope was not there, but it must have been still there or it came back in the next moment, because I wouldn't be here if I didn't have hope, a deeper sense of hope that maybe I didn't always feel, but it was always there.
I wonder too if you may be right in this moment, you're not giving yourself credit, or I could be wrong, where you weren't having the same experience after all of them, or let's say after number 5, where you went and you sought support, because that can change everything, and that the experience still happened. But I am finding myself wondering, when you look back and you witness yourself, were you responding even in slightly different ways that demonstrated, oh, I have grown?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Like,
And it was just the negative self-talk that's like, dang it.
totally. Yeah. No, like if I think about my first postpartum with Gwen, like that was so confusing, overwhelming. Like it was just like a fog. I didn't have people to reach out to or get help from. I felt terrible for feeling how I was feeling. Like I also remember being in church and looking at the other moms who are there, and many of the women in our church have big families. I remember looking at them and being like, does anyone else feel like this? Because if they do, they are really good at hiding it. I am a very emotional person and I cannot hide my feelings for the life of me, even if I wanted to. I could not pretend that nothing was wrong. And so to look at other people and be like, do you guys feel this? Or like, are you good at hiding it? Or am I actually the only one who feels it?
That can feel so isolating. I have felt that, where I genuinely thought people were not struggling in the way that I was. For me, that was like feeling broken. I don't know how that resonates with you. Okay. So anything else about the journey or experience, babies 1 through 7, before the breakthrough?
I guess that's where I was going before I went on my little tangent there. But baby 1 felt like so confusing, and it was like I was in it. Like it was over me, around me, above me, in me. Like it was just like this big mass. Yeah. But then I would say if I look at baby number 7, it was like there was more distance between me and it, like this darkness. My first time, it lasted probably first like 9 months or so. Like not every day was heavy, but it was an overlying heaviness that came through is threaded through those first 9 months. But then baby number 7, it started around 6 months. I had quit smoking. It was winter. I had started writing my book, my story, and all of those things just came to a head, and I experienced it for probably about a month or 2 that winter.
Wow. Yeah. And during winter.
Yeah, totally.
Seasonal. Yeah.
There were different skills or different resources, different people, supports that I got from each experience, things that worked, things that didn't, and that changed. Like it felt like I progressively got a little bit stronger after each one, so that baby number 8, I didn't need to go through it.
Also, I don't want to gloss over, you quit smoking.
I did.
That's a huge, huge, huge thing. So often smoking, maybe always, I don't know, you would know better than me, but is numbing emotions. So just that alone brings up, there's all this stuff that I could deal with and maybe, want to.
Totally. For me, smoking was, I don't drink, so smoking was my choice of vice. But yeah, it was to numb and forget those feelings.
Yeah.
But it was also interesting. Smoking gave me this sense that my life was better than it was. Like instead of having like true connection with my husband, for example, I would smoke, and that would give me that sense of like connection or belonging or just like joy, like this little 10 minutes out on my back deck with nobody bothering me. Yes, it had me numbing or pushing away things that I didn't want to be dealing with, but it also gave me something positive. And so when I quit smoking, then of course I got to deal with all of the things I'd been running from and find out real ways to bring that joy and positive into my life.
Yeah, that feels like an important part of your journey.
Okay, interesting. I've never thought of it like that.
Yeah. And is anything coming up now that I said that?
I guess it brought me looking at my life in like a real way. Like it took off that layer of fakeness that I was living from. and just got to look at the reality of my life.
Yeah. I'm so proud of you. There are some people that will never even try. It's a big deal. And then you're living more authentically now, not
For sure.
numbing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, what else? Like, tell me more.
About what?
Yeah, just so we've made it to baby number 7 and see the difference between postpartum from baby number 1 to baby number 7. And then was there something that shifted in you, or I don't know, a peak moment? I know my story has like a peak moment where everything changed for me. Do you have that too?
Yeah. So after baby number 7, or actually, I would say when I started expecting baby number 8, I honestly looked at my last however many pregnancies and just been like, okay, this is what it has been.
Yeah.
And I don't want to think about going through postpartum depression again another time. But if we look at the reality of it, it very well could happen. And so what do I want to do? What do I want to put into place now? It felt like there was something missing still. Even with all of the work I'd done, I had already helped other moms through their postpartum depression because I started my business after baby number 5. I knew that I was willing to go through it if I needed to, but I also knew that there was another way. Like it didn't have to be how it was. Yeah, there was that, like looking at the reality of it and planning practically. But then there was also still that hope and knowledge that something could change still so that I didn't have to go through it. And so one of my friends had suggested, one of her friends, she was a deep dive healing coach. I don't even know what she would call herself, but I worked with her. And the biggest piece that I was looking for then was emotional connection. That's always been something that has been so important to me. And when it was missing, the depression came.
Yes.
And she took me like deeper and further back than I ever thought I would need to go, talking like soul, conception, like birth, like all of those deep experiences. There wasn't words for always, but the experience of it was able to come out. And that was what changed everything for me. I would say that was one of the biggest. There was all these little pivotal moments where I chose left instead of right. That was like a pinnacle point for me where all the work that I had done like led up to this, being able to let what was in my body come out without judging it or without like logicalizing it or like needing to understand everything. It was just this big release. And there have been so many things that have changed since that was last spring. Yep, last spring, only last spring. And then my baby number 8 was born and didn't have the depression. And yeah, I mean, we could go on a whole tangent of everything that has shifted from it. But it was being able to release the things that were inside that were creating the depression that I didn't know. I think you have something on your mind. But one thing that I wanted to say is that was a big piece for me of why I felt broken, is because I didn't have like something to hold on to. I didn't have like something, a tangible reason for why I felt broken, or not why I felt broken, but why I was experiencing what I was experiencing as a mom. I didn't have a terrible childhood. I grew up in a loving home. I didn't have any like huge traumatic events. And so it was like, why can't I just be happy?
Judgment there, and the experience of so many. Yeah. You were right. I was going to ask a question. You mentioned connection, and my mind leapt to, were there things that you were doing that were blocking the connection that you wanted? Was that part of the discovery?
Oh, yeah, totally.
Okay.
Yeah. The coping mechanisms, pulling away, shutting down, numbing with cigarettes or food. I guess the biggest thing that I think of is like I kind of joke about this, but I made my husband jump through hoops after hoops for the first like 12 years of our marriage to prove that he actually loves me. It's funny, but it's not funny because like there were some hard moments in there, but where I was just like throwing him all of these things that like, no, you actually don't love me because if like I act like this, or if I say this, or I treat you like that. I was so afraid of what I wanted most that I just did everything in my power to try to push it away.
That I was so afraid of what I wanted most that I did everything in my power to try to push it away. I just want to sit there because I see that over and over and over, and me too. Right. I'm not an exclusion to this, where we actually prevent ourselves from the thing that we want, even though we have a lot of times no idea that we're doing that. Yeah.
And it's just why we put ourselves through so much misery and pain when actually the reality is that you can just open up and accept it. I mean, of course, maybe the process of pushing it away and all of the pain that you experience when you do that is what teaches you that you can just open up and accept it.
I don't know how many people resonate with part of what I'm about to say, but in childhood, in my home, but also just society, TV shows, school, I received implicit and explicit messaging. Life is hard. Life is hard. And I think that the vast majority of us do. And unconsciously choose to perpetuate that until we realize, holy smokes, it doesn't have to be like that. And look at how I've been getting in my own way and creating what I say that I don't want. That's something big that I work with my clients on is every time I say, oh, I don't want to be experiencing this. I want something different. Okay, but what are you subconsciously latching onto that keeps that situation happening over and over again? I'm so happy that you had that discovery and experience. So the word that's coming up for me is the magic that followed. So you mentioned that you opened your business after baby number 5, I think you said. Did anything shift recently for you, or you've been working with moms, struggling with postpartum for all these years?
No. So when I started my business, I was talking about postpartum depression, and the women who were coming to me were moms from my church. So some of them resonated with postpartum depression, but some of them were just like, can you help me? I don't like my husband. Can you help me? I'm yelling at my kids. Can you help me? My house is a mess. I'm so overwhelmed. And so I built my business around that then, because that's who I was helping. And I really enjoyed it. It fulfilled so many parts of my life. I loved that we could actually have these conversations with other women of my church of the same faith, because before it had been so taboo or just not talked about, or it was like this sense of like, you can talk about the fact that motherhood is hard, but you can't talk about like how hard it can be.
There were these unspoken boundaries.
Yeah, totally. I guess I would say that I'm still in the middle of that shift. Like, I don't know what like I said at the beginning, our life is an adventure. I don't know what that looks like next. I have lots of different ideas. I don't know which one is going to land. It's like all of these, the souls of the ideas are floating around my life, and I'm trying to trust that the right one is going to actually like take roots.
Yeah. How does your intuition come through for you if you think about previous things that you just knew?
If I think about previous things, it's like I just start taking action on one of those things. Like one of them, for whatever reason, stands out, and then I start moving towards it, and the parts will fall into place.
Yeah.
Which I guess that's already happening. So maybe
Absolutely.
I do.
Yeah. For me, I didn't have this word for it until earlier this year, but I have an urge. That's how it tends to show up for me. Can I tell you a funny story? I don't know.
Yes,
this is coming through. So I'm like, maybe it'll spark something in you or somebody listening, because it's just an urge to share this.
Okay. I love it.
Okay, so I've interviewed her on the podcast. Her name is Jess Babaco, and she wrote a children's book, and it had been in my Amazon cart for quite some time, and I would say like a year, maybe a year and a half. And I purchased it for Christmas. My husband was reading it to one of our girls. And as he was reading it, he was like, this sounds like you. And he was in the background. I can't remember what I was doing. And I'm like, it does. And I just knew I had to reach out to her. So I grabbed the book. I look, and I've never done this before. I looked to see who wrote it. I pulled up Safari, search for her name, Instagram popped up, or maybe she had her Instagram in the book. I can't remember. And I just reached out. And then I was like, hey, do you want to get on a Zoom call? And then that led to me asking if she wanted to be a guest facilitator at my Bravecation retreat. And so I'm just like so curious about intuition and the ways that the universe and God speak to each of us. And so when you mentioned that, I was like, oh, I want to share. Mine is like an urge to do something. Like I just know I need to do it and I don't know why. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I love that. That definitely resonates. And one of my ideas is children books. I have a series of kids' emotion books that's based on each of my kids, one emotion per book, and it's how they move through a negative emotion and the positive emotion that they're actually searching for in their life. It's on the other side of that.
Gloria, I wonder if that's why I felt this urge to share that.
Mm-hmm.
Because you needed like that little whisper from God, like, do it.
Okay, I have a question.
Yes.
Like sometimes the things that I know I should be doing and like I want to do them.
Yeah.
Part of me feels like it's like boring, or I'm like, oh, but I'm like so over that. There's this part of me that doesn't want to do that. Is that normal? Is that just like my ego talking, or?
What comes up for me is if that part of you is afraid, what is she afraid of? She's saying it's boring. That's at the surface. But what is she actually scared of?
I mean, putting my heart out there.
Yeah.
There's another one of the brick walls that's built around my heart.
That has been.
Mm.
Because when we do the thing that we know that we're here to do, or part of it, it can feel so vulnerable and so scary. And the possibility that we get everything that we want from it is there too, which for most, if not all, can feel terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
Who will I be if I'm that person and not me anymore? Who will I lose? All of this uncertainty. And so the mind is just like, oh, that's boring.
Okay.
I'm ready for these children books now.
But yeah, like one of my biggest questions has been since I started my business, and of course, mothering is my number one place that I want to pour my heart and soul, all my energy. One of my biggest questions has been, how can I build my business and run my business alongside mothering? And the answer that has been coming recently to me is writing, because writing doesn't take energy from me. Like I can do it in my sweats. I can do it with my kids hanging out. I don't have to do any extra things. But then if I actually wrote, then like I wouldn't be able to use the excuse of my busy and full life with all of my kids, because I can do it alongside. So
yes,
there's that.
There we go. Breakthrough, baby.
Yeah. Definitely not something I was expecting to be having on this call, but I mean, why shouldn't I have?
I love it so much. I've had people done interviews and people are like crying, like sobbing, and they're like, okay, that was not expected. I'm like, you're welcome.
Totally.
I'm just being playful, but truly, I can't wait now. And if you want to talk about it more, of course, I'm here.
Thank you.
Excited for this, for you and for the world.
Yeah, it feels like important, and it feels also like a fun project. Like a lot of the work that I've done with my clients has been the heavier stuff. And of course, there is deep meaning in these books, but I get to use my imagination or my creativity and
fuel your soul.
Totally.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much for coming on. Is there anything else that you want to share about your story? I have one final question, if not.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Nothing's popping up anyways.
Yeah. If someone listening is in a season, even if it's a very brief one, where they're feeling broken, either emotionally or physically, what would you want them to know?
Okay, so we had a big church gathering a couple of weeks ago with our church, and we call it summer services. There's 4,000 people there. Like, it's a really beautiful
Wow.
weekend together. One of the sermons that I was listening to, I'm getting like shaky sharing this. One of the sermons that we were listening to, there was a line that came out, and I don't remember the verse exactly that he was reading from, but someone had asked Jesus, why is this man blind? Was it his sin? Was it his parents' sin?
Hmm.
And Jesus had responded, and I'm paraphrasing, that it's not his and it's not his parents. It's because God's work is being made manifest through him. And that line hit me so hard. And
Yeah.
that's what dropped through when you asked what I would want them to know, is because sometimes there are parts of ourselves that feel broken or like there's something wrong with us or we shouldn't have experienced this in our past. But the truth is that God's work is being made manifest through it. So whatever those parts of you, for the listeners who don't believe in God or view it as universe, whatever, is there something that you can take from that? Like, there's that acceptance with this is how it was supposed to be for whatever reason.
I love that so much. I fully believe that. I share this often in my community, that I think personally, that I think that my soul chose how I grew up. My parents, my circumstances, my family, even though I used to resist it and fight it hardcore, for sure. But that I believe that my soul chose it because it set me up perfectly for what I do every single day. The empathy that I have, the non-judgment, the way that I can hold space, it's because of what I went through. And I think that's true for everyone if they allow themselves to take the lessons, usually a lot of lessons. Yes, yes. Oh, thank you so much for coming on today, Gloria. Where can listeners find you if they want to follow you?
They can find me on Instagram at Operation Happy Mom or on my website at glorianiemi.com.
Beautiful. I will link those both in the show notes. So if you want to follow or go to her website, you can just click it in the link below. Thank you so much.
Thank you.